What if I told you there's a single word so powerful, so transformative, that once you truly understand and embody it, money would begin flowing to you in ways that seem almost miraculous? Have you ever wondered why some people attract wealth effortlessly while others struggle their entire lives, regardless of how hard they work? You are about to hear something dangerous. Not dangerous to you, but dangerous to every limitation, every financial struggle, and every belief about scarcity that has followed you until now. In the forgotten teachings of Florence Scovel Shinn lies a secret so simple yet so profound that it has the power to completely transform your financial reality overnight. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Has this ever happened to you? You check your bank account, feel that familiar knot in your stomach, and wonder why money always seems to be slipping through your fingers? You work hard, you try to save, you do everything right, yet financial freedom remains frustratingly out of reach. What you're about to discover might surprise you, because everything you currently call your financial reality, your bank balance, your debts, your struggles with money, is nothing but imagination clothed in facts. The numbers in your account, the bills on your table, the constant worry about making ends meet. These aren't random circumstances happening to you. They are the direct manifestation of thoughts and words you've been unconsciously repeating for years. Florence Scovel Shinn discovered nearly a century ago what modern neuroscience is only beginning to understand: that our words create our world. The language we use doesn't just describe our reality, it creates it. And hidden within her teachings is a word so powerful that when spoken with true understanding and feeling, it literally commands the universe to rearrange itself to match your prosperity. Stay with me until the end, because I'm going to share this forgotten secret that the wealthy have known for generations. A secret that explains why some people seem blessed with abundance while others remain trapped in cycles of lack. This isn't about positive thinking or vision boards or any of the watered-down concepts you might have heard before. This is about tapping into the fundamental creative power that shapes reality itself. I must warn you, though, once you hear this word and understand its true power, you'll never look at your financial situation the same way again. You'll suddenly recognize how you've been unconsciously sabotaging your own abundance all along, and more importantly, how you can flip the switch starting today. The veil between you and wealth is thinner than you could possibly imagine. If you're ready to continue this journey of abundance consciousness, hit that subscribe button now. Each video builds on these powerful principles, revealing more dimensions of the I Am power that's transforming lives around the world. And this is where the hidden truth becomes apparent. The words you speak aren't just descriptions of your reality. They're actively creating it. Every time you say, "I can't afford that," "Money always slips through my fingers," or "I'll never get out of this financial hole," you're not merely observing your circumstances. You're issuing direct commands to your subconscious mind, which accepts these statements without question or analysis. Your subconscious doesn't judge whether what you're saying is helpful or harmful. It doesn't filter your words through logic or reason. It simply receives your declarations as prophecies that must be fulfilled. When you repeatedly state that you're broke, that money is scarce, that wealth is for others but not for you, your subconscious mind works tirelessly to ensure your external reality matches these internal beliefs. This revelation can be jarring at first. The idea that your financial struggles are self-created through unconscious programming might trigger resistance or even denial. But this moment of uncomfortable recognition holds the seed of your transformation. Because if your words have created limitation, then different words can create abundance. Imagine the profound shift that occurs when you begin consciously using this same creative power that has been operating behind the scenes your entire life. What if, instead of accidentally programming yourself for lack, you deliberately programmed yourself for prosperity? What if you could reverse years of negative patterns simply by changing the words you speak to yourself? This isn't about denying your current reality or engaging in empty positive thinking. The journey toward wealth consciousness requires absolute honesty about where you stand right now. But it also demands the courage to speak a new language of abundance, even when your bank account tells a different story. The decisions you make about your inner dialogue impact every aspect of your financial future. When Florence Scovel Shinn worked with clients trapped in poverty, she observed a striking pattern. Their minds were filled with poverty-oriented language. Their very thoughts were shaped by words of limitation. And once she helped them implement this profound mindset shift, teaching them to speak the language of abundance instead, their external circumstances began to reorganize themselves accordingly. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and reveal the specific word that stands at the center of this wealth revolution. This single word holds more power than any investment strategy, business plan, or financial advisor, because it reprograms the very foundation from which all your financial experiences spring forth. This word has transformed countless lives throughout history, yet most people completely overlook its significance or misunderstand how to properly use it. Write in the comments, "My words create my wealth," if you're beginning to see how your own language might have been unconsciously shaping your financial reality all along. This powerful revelation isn't something I discovered. It's a timeless wisdom that Florence Scovel Shinn documented after witnessing countless transformations in the lives of people who applied it. If you remain open-minded to what she uncovered through decades of working with people from all walks of life, you'll receive more than just information. You'll gain possession of a master key to abundance that unlocks doors you never even knew existed. What makes this approach so revolutionary is that it works regardless of your current circumstances. The economy could be crashing around you, your salary might be less than you desire, your background could be filled with financial hardship. None of it matters once you understand and apply this principle. The revelation Florence Scovel Shinn brings to light transcends all external limitations because it operates from the inside out, reshaping your financial reality from its very foundation. I can sense some skepticism arising. Perhaps you're thinking, this sounds too good to be true. After all, if wealth creation were as simple as understanding a single word, wouldn't everyone be rich? This resistance is natural. In fact, it's precisely why this knowledge remains hidden in plain sight. Our minds are conditioned to equate value with complexity. We believe that anything truly powerful must be complicated, difficult to understand, or accessible only to the elite. But the most profound truths in the universe are often disarmingly simple. Just as EMC2 revolutionized physics with elegant simplicity, this secret word will revolutionize your financial existence with a power that belies its straightforward nature. When I reveal it to you, it might seem almost too basic to create the impact I'm promising. You might even feel disappointed initially, wondering how something so fundamental could possibly rearrange your entire life. Yet this simplicity is exactly what gives it such transformative power. Like a master key that can unlock any door because of its perfectly calibrated design, this word works precisely because it aligns with the fundamental mechanics of how reality forms around you. The journey of implementing it doesn't require complicated strategies or exhausting effort. It requires something both simpler and more challenging, a complete shift in your mindset and identity. When you claim this word as your own, when you embody it rather than merely speak it, your relationship with money undergoes an alchemical transformation. Opportunities that were always present but invisible to you suddenly come into focus. Resources align in ways that seem almost orchestrated. People respond to you differently, sensing something has changed in your very essence. And most significantly, the invisible barrier that seemed to stand between you and abundance dissolves, revealing it was only ever made of thoughts and words. The revelations I'm about to share cut straight to the heart of why most wealth-building strategies fail. They address not the symptoms of financial struggle, but its root cause. And as we explore the precise mechanism through which this secret word operates in your consciousness, you'll begin to see the blueprint of how reality forms itself around your deepest beliefs. Type, "I'm ready to transform" in the comments if you're prepared to let go of old financial stories and embrace a completely new understanding of how wealth truly works. The moment you're experiencing right now represents a genuine crossroads in your financial journey. We all face pivotal moments that forever divide our lives into before and after. And this is one of those moments. Right now, as you listen to these words, you stand at the threshold where poverty begins to loosen its grip and wealth takes its first breath. This isn't poetic language. It's a description of the energetic shift that occurs when someone finally understands the true nature of abundance. Think of poverty not just as a financial condition, but as a living entity that has been feeding on your doubt, your negative self-talk, and your limiting beliefs. It has survived within you because you've unknowingly nourished it with words of lack and scarcity. And just as poverty can be personified, so can wealth, as a living, breathing presence that has been waiting patiently for you to invite it into your experience. Wealth isn't just money in the bank. It's a state of being that permeates every aspect of your existence once you allow it to take root. I can sense the questions arising in your mind. The very doubt you're feeling right now, that voice whispering, "This can't possibly work for me," is precisely why this powerful word has remained hidden from most people despite being in plain sight. Florence Scovel Shinn observed this pattern repeatedly. Those who most needed financial transformation were often those most resistant to its simplicity. Their analytical minds created elaborate barriers, demanding complex solutions to match their complex problems. This skepticism acts as a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you doubt the power of this word before even hearing it, you've already created resistance to its effectiveness. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough is a moment when someone suspended their disbelief long enough to test a new possibility. They made the courageous decision to temporarily set aside their objections and embrace a paradigm that contradicted everything they'd been taught about money. Subscribe to join our community of conscious creators who are mastering the art of I am declarations. Every video is another piece of the prosperity puzzle that Florence Scovel Shinn discovered decades ago. The impact of this mindset shift cannot be overstated. I've witnessed people transform decades of financial struggle within weeks of implementing this principle, not because they suddenly received an inheritance or won the lottery, but because they fundamentally altered the way they related to money at the level of identity. The external changes, the unexpected checks, the sudden opportunities, the inspired ideas were merely reflections of this internal revolution. What's fascinating about this journey is that the catalyst for such profound transformation isn't complicated financial strategies or secret investment opportunities. It's the recognition that the single most powerful tool for creating wealth has been with you all along, hiding in the most obvious place possible. Once you understand the authentic power contained in this word, you'll wonder how you ever missed it, and you'll never see yourself or your financial potential the same way again. Drop "I'm claiming my wealth" identity in the comments if you're ready to discover the word that will forever transform how money flows into your life. One of the most powerful illusions we've collectively accepted is the belief that wealth must be born of struggle. This conditioning runs so deep that it becomes invisible. We don't even recognize it as a belief, but accept it as an immutable law of reality. Parents pass it to children, schools reinforce it, and society celebrates the narrative of the person who worked their fingers to the bone to achieve financial success. This programming creates a psychological barrier that automatically makes us dismiss simple solutions to complex problems. When presented with a straightforward path to abundance, your mind's immediate reaction is suspicion. "It can't be that easy," your inner voice protests. "If wealth creation were this simple, everyone would be rich." This reflexive skepticism serves as a self-protective mechanism. But what is it really protecting? Not your financial well-being, but your existing belief system. Your mind would rather maintain consistency in its worldview than embrace a truth that might set you free but contradicts everything you've been taught. This mental framework explains why lottery winners often lose everything within a few years. Their mindset never transformed. They still operate from the consciousness that wealth requires struggle. Without that struggle, money feels undeserved and ultimately finds its way out of their lives, fulfilling their deeper belief that easy money doesn't last. The hidden truth behind your current financial reality is both humbling and empowering. Your life as it exists right now, every aspect of it, was not constructed through massive efforts or dramatic decisions. Rather, it was built brick by brick through the seemingly insignificant words you've spoken to yourself daily. Those quiet moments when you look at a price tag and unconsciously murmur, "I can't afford this." The habitual jokes about being broke, the resigned sighs when bills arrive. These small, repeated patterns have collectively shaped your financial landscape. This revelation transforms our understanding of manifestation. The journey to wealth doesn't require Herculean effort or dramatic lifestyle changes. It requires attention to the subtle, moment-by-moment choices in how you speak to yourself about money. The words that flow through your mind might seem ephemeral and inconsequential, but they are the invisible architects of your material circumstances. Consider how water shapes rock, not through force, but through persistent, gentle contact over time. Similarly, your casual thoughts about money, those seemingly harmless complaints and resigned acceptances, have been carving the canyon of your current financial reality. The transformation begins when you recognize these patterns and understand that if small negative words created limitation, then small positive words can create abundance with the same mathematical certainty. The decisions you make in these quiet moments, whether to speak lack or abundance, limitation or possibility, ultimately determine your financial destiny far more powerfully than any external strategy. This understanding shifts your focus from looking outward for solutions to recognizing the creative power that has been within you all along. Comment below with, "I'm watching my words," if you've suddenly become aware of how your everyday language about money might have been programming your financial reality without your conscious awareness. What makes this secret word so uniquely powerful is the way it operates beneath the surface of conscious thought. Most financial advice targets your analytical mind, giving you strategies, techniques, and methods that require deliberate implementation. But these approaches often fail because they clash with the deeper programming running silently in your subconscious. It's like installing new software on a computer that's still running an old, conflicting operating system. The brilliance of the word Florence Scovel Shinn discovered is that it bypasses these rational defenses entirely. It doesn't need to convince your logical mind or overcome its objections. Instead, it plants directly in the fertile soil of your imagination, that deeper creative faculty that actually shapes your experience of reality. Your imagination doesn't argue with what you tell it. It simply accepts and begins to manifest. It's the difference between trying to push a boulder uphill versus redirecting a river that's already flowing. One requires constant effort, while the other harnesses natural momentum. Think of your imagination as the hidden engine behind everything you experience. When you feed it images and words of scarcity, it faithfully creates scenarios that match that input. But when you consciously plant a seed of abundance through this powerful word, your imagination begins working on your behalf, recognizing opportunities and inspirations that were always present but previously invisible to you because they didn't match your programming. This transformative knowledge isn't actually hidden from you. It's been hiding in plain sight all along. The secret word isn't something being withheld or something you need special access to discover. Rather, it has been patiently waiting for you to be ready to receive it. There's a profound wisdom in the timing of insights like these. They tend to appear in our lives precisely when we've developed the capacity to use them effectively. Consider the journey that brought you to this moment. The sequence of events, decisions, and even disappointments that led you to be watching this right now wasn't random, Behind the scenes, your readiness has been building. Perhaps previous financial strategies failed, not because they were flawed, but because you needed those experiences to prepare you for this deeper understanding. The revelation you're about to receive can only transform someone who's prepared to implement it. Someone who has experienced enough frustration with conventional approaches to be open to something fundamentally different. This is why some people can hear this exact same information and experience dramatic transformation while others dismiss it entirely. The difference isn't in the information itself, but in the receiver's state of readiness. Those who approach this with genuine curiosity and openness often report that it feels like reconnecting with something they've always known deep down, rather than learning something entirely new. The reason this word creates such immediate impact in people's lives is that it addresses the root of financial struggle rather than its symptoms. It realigns your entire relationship with abundance at the level of identity. When properly understood and applied, it creates a chain reaction that begins in your consciousness, but quickly manifests in your external circumstances, often in ways that seem coincidental or even miraculous to the untrained eye. Share your thoughts by typing, "This wisdom has found me at the perfect time," if you sense that your life has been preparing you for precisely this revelation. Here's what's truly fascinating. Even when people hear this secret word and intellectually understand its power, most never actually use it. They nod along, feel a momentary surge of inspiration, and then return to their familiar patterns of financial struggle. This paradox reveals something profound about human psychology. The most significant barrier to transformation isn't lack of information. It's the deep-seated belief that wealth cannot possibly come easily. This resistance operates below the threshold of conscious awareness. You might genuinely want financial abundance and freedom, might actively seek solutions, yet simultaneously harbor an unconscious conviction that if you aren't struggling, you aren't deserving. This creates an internal conflict where one part of you reaches for prosperity while another subtly sabotages every opportunity, ensuring your experience remains consistent with your deeper beliefs. The origins of this self-limitation can be traced to your earliest programming. Think your facial expression changes, your energy transforms. This embodiment is what turns words from empty syllables into creative commands. Florence Scovel Shinn emphasized this feeling nature of manifestation with her clients. She observed that those who created the most dramatic financial transformations weren't those who repeated affirmations most frequently, but those who succeeded in feeling the reality of their declarations most authentically. They didn't just say the words, they lived them from the inside out, allowing this new identity to permeate their entire being before any external evidence appeared. What's particularly significant about this teaching is that Florence Scovel Shinn didn't invent this principle. She revealed it after observing its consistent operation in countless lives. She was a messenger of a timeless truth rather than the creator of a new technique. This universal law has been operating throughout human history, creating poverty or prosperity depending on how people used it, whether consciously or unconsciously. This understanding gives the teaching profound authority. It isn't one woman's opinion or a temporary trend in manifestation practice. It's the revelation of how reality itself works, a principle so fundamental that it operates with mathematical precision regardless of whether you believe in it. Just as gravity doesn't require your faith to function, this creative law works with or without your conscious participation. The only question is whether you'll use it deliberately or continue experiencing its effects by default. The journey of embodying I am wealth often begins with moments of genuine feeling that gradually extend into your consistent experience. You might initially feel this prosperity consciousness for just seconds before doubt returns. But with practice, those seconds become minutes, then hours, then days, until you've established a new baseline of identity from which all your experiences naturally flow. Drop I am embodying wealth consciousness in the comments if you're committed to not just speaking these words, but feeling their reality in every cell of your being. Let me share with you what happens behind the scenes in your mind when you speak those powerful I am declarations. Your subconscious mind, the deeper part of your awareness that controls over 95% of your life, operates fundamentally differently than your conscious mind. While your rational thinking brain analyzes, questions, and often rejects new information, your subconscious accepts whatever you plant in it without question or resistance. It doesn't argue, doesn't evaluate whether something is realistic, and doesn't filter your words based on your current circumstances. This non-judgmental nature of the subconscious is both its greatest power and potential limitation. Like fertile soil that doesn't discriminate between the seeds of weeds or flowers, your subconscious faithfully grows, whatever you consistently plant within it. When you declare, I am wealth, it doesn't check your bank account to verify the statement's accuracy. It simply receives this declaration as a command, as the blueprint from which it must now create your experience. This reveals something profound about your current financial situation. For years, likely decades, you've been unknowingly planting seeds of lack that your obedient subconscious accepted as absolute law. Every time you complained about bills, worried about money, or declared yourself broke, you weren't just describing your circumstances. You were programming the very mechanism that creates those circumstances. The financial limitations you're experiencing right now aren't random bad luck or external forces working against you. They're the precise harvest of the mental seeds you've been planting. The illumination that comes with this understanding is both humbling and liberating. Your words haven't been innocent observations, but powerful directives shaping your reality with mathematical precision. The gap between your desires and your experience hasn't been due to some cosmic unfairness, but to the conflict between what you consciously want and what you've unconsciously declared as your identity. This insight transforms how you approach financial transformation. Rather than fighting against external circumstances, you can focus on changing the seeds you're planting in the fertile ground of your subconscious. The remarkable discovery Florence Scovel Shinn made was that this reprogramming doesn't require years of effort. It requires only the consistent declaration of a new identity through I am statements that your subconscious accepts with the same unquestioning obedience with which it accepted limitation. The journey toward prosperity consciousness begins with recognizing that your subconscious has no preference between abundance or scarcity. It simply manifests whatever you declare with conviction and consistency. Just as it faithfully created limitation when you identified with lack, it will create abundance when you identify with wealth with equal precision. The deciding factor isn't your external circumstances, but the identity you plant within. This understanding reveals why some people manifest money easily, regardless of economic conditions, while others struggle despite every advantage. The difference isn't luck or privilege, but the seeds each person plants in their subconscious garden. When you declare, I am wealth with genuine feeling, you're not trying to manipulate reality. You're aligning with the fundamental creative process that has been operating all along. Type, I am replanting my subconscious garden in the comments if you're beginning to see how your current financial situation directly reflects the identity seeds you've been planting all along. What makes I am statements uniquely powerful is how they bypass the typical resistance mechanisms in your subconscious mind. Unlike other phrases, when you declare I am, followed by anything, your deeper mind doesn't evaluate or filter. It hears these words as absolute truth and immediately begins rearranging your internal landscape to match this declaration. This isn't because of some magical property, but because I am speaks the native language of identity, the foundational level from which all experience emerges. Think of it this way. When you say, I want more money, your subconscious registers this as separate from you, something outside yourself that you're trying to acquire. But when you declare I am wealth, you're speaking at the level of being rather than having or doing. You're not asking for something to come to you. You're defining the essence from which all your experiences naturally flow. Your subconscious has no choice but to align with this new identity statement because it accepts I am declarations as commands from the highest authority, your core identity. Florence Scovel Shinn discovered that this mechanism works with precise consistency regardless of a person's current circumstances. The wealthy person who secretly declares, I am unworthy, eventually loses their fortune, while the seemingly poor person who genuinely embraces, I am abundance, inevitably finds their external reality transforming to match this internal truth. The deciding factor isn't external opportunity, but the identity declarations that shape how you perceive and interact with those opportunities. Think of your life as an unfolding script being continuously written by your subconscious mind based on your I am declarations. For years, that script might have read, character is struggling financially, constantly worried about money, never has enough. Every scene, every interaction, every opportunity was filtered through this core narrative. But when you begin consistently declaring, I am wealth, your subconscious, the faithful writer of your life story, begins revising the entire script. This transformation doesn't require erasing your past or denying your present circumstances. Rather, it's about introducing a new character arc that evolves naturally from struggle to abundance. The early chapters of financial limitation don't disappear, but they're recontextualized as the perfect setup for your emergence into prosperity consciousness. Your subconscious begins reinterpreting past events not as evidence of lack, but as the necessary journey that prepared you for abundance. What's fascinating about this process is how your perception shifts before your circumstances do. You'll begin noticing opportunities that were always present but previously invisible to you. People will respond to you differently, sensing the subtle shift in your energy. Ideas and inspiration will flow more readily. These aren't coincidences, but the natural result of your subconscious realigning your entire experience to match your new identity declaration. The revelation that Florence Scovel Shinn brings to light is that this transformation isn't about acquiring something you don't have, but about awakening to what has always been your birthright. The script revision happens first in consciousness, then manifests in increasingly tangible ways as you consistently embody this new identity. If you're beginning to sense the profound shift that occurs when you truly declare I am wealth with conviction rather than desperation, share My Identity Creates My Reality in the comments. Now, I want to share something crucial about this manifestation process that many miss. It requires persistence. When you first begin declaring, I am wealth, you're planting a seed in the garden of your consciousness. Like any seed, it doesn't instantly become a fully grown tree. There's a natural gestation period where changes are happening beneath the surface before becoming visible in your external reality. This is where most people abandon the practice, mistaking the invisible growth phase for evidence that it's not working. Florence Scovel Shinn observed that those who created the most remarkable financial transformations weren't necessarily those with the most talent or opportunities, but those who persisted with unwavering consistency. They continued declaring their new identity through I am statements, regardless of what their current circumstances suggested. They understood that they were nurturing a growing tree of wealth that would eventually become so established in their consciousness that its manifestation in physical reality became inevitable. Think of this process like the growth of an actual tree. First comes the invisible phase where the seed cracks open underground. This mirrors the initial shift in your consciousness when you begin embracing a new identity. Then comes the tender sapling stage where the manifestation appears in small ways, unexpected checks, new ideas, fortunate connections. With continued nurturing through your I am declarations, these initial manifestations expand into the full, fruit-bearing tree of abundance that becomes undeniable in your reality. This natural growth process requires both patience and unwavering trust. Your declaration of I am wealth is watering this tree daily, even when you don't yet see its full manifestation. The transformation is unfolding according to its own divine timing, not according to your expectations or demands. This patience isn't passive waiting but active cultivation, continuing to embody wealth consciousness regardless of appearances. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough is this invisible growth period that precedes external manifestation. Those who abandon the practice during this crucial phase never experience the full blossoming of their prosperity consciousness. But those who persist eventually reach the tipping point where abundance becomes their natural state rather than an occasional visitor. While persistence is essential, there's a fatal mistake that prevents most people from experiencing results even when they practice consistently. They repeat the words mechanically, without entering the feeling state those words describe. This disconnection between declaration and emotion creates a contradiction that the subconscious cannot resolve. When you say, "I am wealth," while feeling poor, worried, or lacking, your subconscious receives mixed signals and will always default to the stronger feeling rather than the words themselves. This explains why many people try affirmations for years without seeing significant change. They're focusing on the words while ignoring the energetic transmission that gives those words their creative power. The words are merely the vehicle. The feeling is the fuel. Without emotional embodiment, affirmations become empty sounds that fail to penetrate the deeper levels of consciousness where manifestation begins. If you recognize you've been practicing affirmations without fully engaging your emotional being, type, "I'm now feeling my declarations" in the comments. Now, I want to explore why this seemingly simple practice often fails to produce results for many who attempt it. There's a fundamental law operating in your consciousness. When you say one thing while feeling the opposite, the feeling always wins in the subconscious. This explains the frequent disconnect between what people affirm and what actually manifests in their lives. If you declare, "I am wealth," while internally feeling broke, anxious, or unworthy, your subconscious receives contradictory instructions, and it will invariably follow the emotional signal rather than the verbal one. Think of it like trying to tune a radio to two different stations simultaneously. The stronger signal will always override the weaker one. Your feelings generate a far more powerful frequency than your words alone. This insight reveals why some people can repeat affirmations for years without experiencing significant change. They're creating internal conflict rather than alignment, sending mixed messages that neutralize each other's creative potential. The breakthrough comes when you understand that effective manifestation isn't about convincing yourself of something untrue, but about aligning with a deeper truth that transcends your temporary circumstances. When Florence Scovel Shinn guided clients to financial transformation, she helped them access authentic feelings of abundance despite external appearances. This wasn't pretending or self-deception, but connecting with the prosperity consciousness that exists within everyone beneath layers of limiting beliefs. This alignment between declaration and feeling creates a resonance that amplifies your manifestation power exponentially. Instead of contradictory frequencies canceling each other out, they merge into a unified field of creative energy. Your words and emotions become a single, coherent command to your subconscious, which then faithfully creates experiences that match this energetic blueprint. The journey toward this alignment often begins with small moments of genuine feeling that gradually extend into your consistent experience. You might initially feel wealthy for just a few seconds while declaring, "I am wealth," before doubt returns. But with practice, those seconds become minutes, then hours, until this prosperity consciousness becomes your natural state rather than an occasional visitor. What's truly remarkable about this process is that it transforms not just your finances, but your entire existence. Wealth is only the beginning, the first visible manifestation of a fundamental identity shift that eventually permeates every aspect of your life. As your "I am" declaration takes root in consciousness, you'll notice changes in your relationships, health, creativity, and spiritual connection. These aren't separate transformations, but different expressions of the same shift in core identity. This happens because money isn't isolated from the rest of your life. It's intimately connected to your sense of value, worthiness, trust, and abundance. When you heal your relationship with money through the proper use of I am, you're simultaneously healing these deeper aspects of consciousness. The financial abundance that follows is simply the most tangible evidence of this inner transformation. Type I am transformation in progress in the comments if you're beginning to sense that this process goes far beyond simply attracting more money and actually represents a fundamental evolution in your entire being. As we come to this moment of revelation together, I want you to pause and truly consider what we've uncovered. This journey isn't just about financial transformation. It's about reclaiming the divine creative power that has been within you all along. The I am declaration that Florence Scovel Shinn brought to light isn't a technique to be practiced occasionally, but a fundamental shift in how you express your being in the world. If this message has resonated in the depths of your consciousness, if you felt something awaken that perhaps you've always known was there, I'd love to hear from you. Type I am awakened in the comments, not just for me to see, but as another powerful declaration of your emerging identity. The community forming around these timeless principles is extraordinary. Each person embracing their prosperity consciousness creates ripples that strengthen everyone else's journey. If you found value in our exploration today, a simple like helps others discover this message exactly when they need it most. It's how wisdom finds those ready to receive it. I'm continuing this journey of consciousness expansion every week, diving into aspects of the law that few ever discuss. There's a video right here that explores how this same I am principle can transform not just wealth, but your relationships in ways you might not imagine possible. It's the perfect next step if you're ready to extend this awakening into every dimension of your life. Click and continue with me over there. Your expanded consciousness awaits. Remember, the declaration I am wealth is just the beginning of what's possible when you reclaim the creative power of your word. The journey continues, and I'm honored to walk it with you.